London, 1888. When night fell over Whitechapel, the city seemed to exhale something dark. Thick fog rolled through narrow streets, wrapping itself around crooked buildings and flickering gas lamps. The roads were wet, the air was cold, and poverty hung over the district like a curse. Women in thin dresses stood on corners, hoping to earn enough to survive the night. Drunk men stumbled past. Somewhere, a cart creaked slowly through the mist. People were used to hardship here. They were not used to what was coming. In the early hours of the morning, a policeman patrolling an alley raised his lantern. The light fell on a body. A woman lay on the cold ground. Her throat had been cut. Her body had been brutally mutilated. For a moment, the officer could not move. Then came the shouting. Doors flew open. Neighbors gathered. Some screamed. Some prayed. Some turned away in horror. By sunrise, the news had spread. Whitechapel had met a monster. Printing machines thundered through the day. Brutal murder in Whitechapel. Killer loose in London. Men read the headlines in silence. Others argued in pubs. Mothers pulled their daughters indoors before dark. Strangers became suspects. Footsteps became threats. Then the newspapers gave the killer a name that would echo through history. Jack the Ripper. And from that moment, fear had an identity. Soon, letters began to arrive. At police stations, at newspaper offices. They were written in red ink, taunting, confident, cruel. One claimed responsibility, another mocked the failure of the police. One arrived with part of a human organ preserved inside. Officers stood around wooden desks, reading words that felt alive. This was not just murder. This was a game, and London was losing. Late one night, a woman walked through the fog. Her shoes tapped softly on wet stone. Her breath trembled in the cold air. The street was empty. Then she heard it. Footsteps. She stopped. They stopped. She walked faster. They followed. A shadow stretched across the wall. A darker shape moved inside the mist. She turned into a narrow street, and the fog closed behind her. By morning, she was another name on a growing list. Inside dim police offices, detectives worked without rest. Walls filled with notes, sketches, maps, and crossed-out names. Witnesses were questioned, suspects arrested, suspects released. Some believed Jack was a doctor, some said a butcher. Some swore he was a gentleman, but no description lasted. No evidence stayed strong. Jack the Ripper had no confirmed face. He was becoming something worse than a man. He was becoming a myth. Then came a murder so violent that even experienced officers were shaken. The scene was beyond understanding, beyond rage, beyond reason. Some policemen turned away. Some were silent for hours. Some later said it was the worst thing they had ever seen. And after that night, the murder stopped, suddenly, completely. Days passed, then weeks. No new victims, no new letters, no arrest. The streets grew quieter, but the fear did not leave. Doors were still locked early. Windows were still barred. Women still hurried home before dark. Jack the Ripper had vanished, as if the fog had swallowed him whole. Years turned into decades. The murders became stories. The stories became books. The books became legends. Dozens of suspects, hundreds of theories, no final answer. To this day, the true identity of Jack the Ripper remains unknown. And somewhere in the memory of London, in the mist between history and nightmare, Jack the Ripper is still walking. So if the killer was never caught, the question remains, who was Jack the Ripper?